You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Lots happening. A lot is going on. There were these incredible hearings today with Jim Jordan's committee, the Weaponization of Government Committee, which is amazing. And, you know, these FBI whistleblowers that the Democrats don't want to call whistleblowers because, you know, it's an interesting thing about whistleblowers today because we never really thought too much about whistleblowers until Vindman with Trump. And that wasn't really a whistleblower. That was part of the deep state plot. But he went through the inspector general, and they have this whistleblower statute and all of this. And in this hearing today, these FBI guys are whistleblowers, and the Democrats were obsessing that they're not whistleblowers. And I guess whistleblower, you got to go, this congressional definition of it involves going through these official channels.
They were obsessed with not letting them have that label.
Well, what whistleblowers really are weapons of the deep state to screw people over that they don't like President Trump. And these Democrats today in this hearing with these FBI officials, it was the worst I've ever seen the Democrats in a hearing. All they did was point of order. They didn't want to let anyone talk because they didn't want these witnesses to talk. And to me, it looked like every one of these Democrats on this committee had an FBI file of them with blackmail material or something because these Democrats were hysterical that these FBI whistleblowers were going to speak. It was I've not seen anything like it. But what they did today was establish on the congressional record under oath, under penalty of it's perjury, it's lying to Congress. If you lie, you got to tell the truth and go to prison. This FBI agents today, they confirmed that there were indeed FBI agents embedded in the MAGA people on January 6th. Yeah. And that's huge.
That is huge. In fact, but they had one congressperson up there, a guy who was really desperate to just call them disgruntled employees. That they weren't whistleblowers. They were just disgruntled employees wasting their time.
Oh, that's nonsense.
Complaining about their boss like everybody does. And they were really trying to downplay what they were talking about and dismiss what they were saying. But I got to tell you, those whistleblowers look terrified.
Yeah.
They're very brave.
They should be terrified.
They looked very scared.
Yeah.
But I'm glad the Republican Congress people gave them a lot of their time to speak.
Well, and
what they wanted to say.
The one guy, he said that the way that the FBI works, when you go against them like this, they make it so that you cannot work anywhere else. I guess you got some type of conscience, so he can't earn any money. He's living off of charity.
Yeah.
And what these people are risking is insane, and these Democrat Congress people are just a disgrace. I mean, those of you that are Democrats, don't you feel filthy? I mean, it's like it's
no, they don't. They feel
scummy. They're scummy.
They feel this is why they don't feel filthy, because their party. Well, I've always felt a Democrat is a certain personality type, somebody who loves control and power,
sadistic serial killer type personality,
exactly. But they feel. They've been brainwashed to feeling that we are dangerous, and now this whole white supremacy nonsense. So they feel that whatever means necessary to keep us down, to keep us quiet is justified, even if it's lying, cheating, whatever you want to call it. They feel it's totally justified because we're the real danger, even though they're the ones doing all the dirty deeds. Still, we're the bad guys. I mean, they're twisted.
Yeah. So that committee is one to follow, and these witnesses are so brave. Now, we're going to talk about Marjorie Taylor Greene. A lot happened with Marjorie Taylor Greene today, a lot. And we're going to talk about that in just a bit, but I want to mention something now that's unrelated to that because I will forget. And it's a follow-up on yesterday's show. And on the podcast yesterday, you've heard me talk a lot about this new slave trade that the Democrats have going on to the southern border, and it's a disgrace. And, I like these FBI shows, okay, on CBS. I like them, okay? I know a lot of you guys do. I don't watch a lot of, like, scripted television. I watch mostly, if I'm not watching news-related stuff, I do watch little too much YouTube. But I don't watch a lot of scripted television shows, but I do like some shows, and I like the FBI shows. And these shows are usually very liberal with liberal storylines, and they had one this week that I thought was going to be a liberal storyline, and it wasn't. And it was about the southern border crisis. And this is on the FBI Most Wanted, and it was about these two illegals, these girls that crossed the border illegally, and they found one of them murdered, and the other one was on the run. And what the storyline was is they had just gotten bused to New York by the governor of Texas. The Texas governor bused them to New York, because he's sending all these people there, and they get picked up by this creep who's a killer and a sex trafficker, and he kills one of them, and the other one he forces to have sex with rich guys in New York. And the FBI agents get called in there to the dead girl, and then they make a jab at Governor Abbott. They don't say his name. All the Texas governors sit them here on a bus for a publicity stunt, because we're supposed to be a say. And I was like, oh, great. I almost stopped watching it.
Yeah, no, those shows are very liberal. And because they probably have the FBI giving them storylines.
But then really. But then it got into what's really going on about how these people are being forced into slavery by people in New York, which is all liberal run and everything. And it was very much against the open border and what's going on down there. So if any of you get a chance to watch, it's the FBI Most Wanted. There's 3 of those FBI shows. So it's the FBI Most Wanted. And I know they take that jab at Greg Abbott. Don't misunderstand me. And I'm not saying the show's not liberal, but every once in a while they get some truth telling going on there. And it really illustrates how terrible things are at the southern border. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is introducing articles of impeachment. She's done it today against the FBI director.
Who is that? Christopher
Wray?
Okay.
The Homeland Security Secretary and Biden and the Homeland Security Secretary over what's going on at the southern border. And Mayorkas and Joe Biden are 2 of the scummiest men to ever hold a high office in this country. Mm-hmm. What they're allowing to go on at the southern border is an embarrassment, not just to the United States, but to just humanity, what they're putting people through. And the reason I was mentioning this episode of the FBI Most Wanted is it really puts a face. I know it's a drama. I know it's not real, but it puts a face on what's going on with these poor souls that are being brought here. And when Debbie Wasserman Schultz, that clip we played of her, she's on that Jim Jordan committee, and she's one of the scummy Democrats that was attacking these brave whistleblowers today. And when she was taught, well, who's going to work in the fields? Who's going to clean the hotel rooms? And in this FBI show, the sex slave trafficker with the illegals was using the girls. He had a cover as a hotel cleaning company. And that's how they were being trafficked for sex in hotels with rich hotel guests in New York. And it was really disgusting. And Debbie Wasserman Schultz and all of these Democrats are terrible people.
It's just amazing to me how awful humans can be. And this is nothing new.
Well,
this
Democrats.
The ongoing from the beginning of time. But how they treat other people like that. They just, treat them like animals.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene was attacked. It's happened twice. There was a confrontation in front of Congress yesterday. It involved AOC, another Democrat we're going to talk about in a minute, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and George Santos. And Marjorie Taylor Greene was talking about being attacked. And I saw what happened in front of the Capitol, and it was pretty bad. But that's not the attack she was talking about. And the press don't want you to. But anyway, let me play a couple things here. This is Marjorie Taylor Greene in a press conference today. Okay, it was the same press conference when she's talking about the articles of impeachment, but she got into this attack on her, and that's what I wanted to focus on here.
Had to have so much security. There was not enough. I was swarmed. It's all on video. Everyone can see this. But I will tell you what's on video is Jamal Bowman shouting at the top of his lungs, cursing, calling me a horrible, calling me a white supremacist, which I take great offense to. That is like calling a person of color the N-word, which should never happen. Calling me a white supremacist is equal to that, and that is wrong. Jamal Bowman was down there cursing at me, telling me to get the F out of there. And he was leading the mob right outside the vehicle I was sitting in. We have this all on video. And then on the Capitol steps yesterday, he was the one that approached me. Even CNN reported that. Yelling, shouting, raising his voice. He has aggressive, his physical mannerisms are aggressive. And he just recently shoved Thomas Massey just outside the House chamber. I think there's a lot of concern about Jamal Bowman. So, and I am concerned about it. I feel threatened by him. He not only led a mob there, but his boisterous lies. And I'll tell you another thing he said outside there. He was saying, save your party. I kept telling him, no, save the country. It's not about political parties. We shouldn't care about political parties. We should care about the country, because no matter what our political beliefs are, Jamal Bowman, I don't know what his political beliefs are. I know what mine are, but we both swore an oath to serve the country here in Congress as representatives. So I am very concerned about Jamal Bowman. And he's someone that people should watch.
Okay.
Well, now he responded to her.
I know. I'm gonna get to all that. Now, just a little. I want to talk a little bit about it. I looked him up a little bit. I know who he is, and he's always doing these publicity stunts. But I looked up his bio. He is the founder, and he was the principal of the Cornerstone Academy for Social Action. Anything that has social action in the title is a radical Marxist
for sure.
organization.
Yeah, like the Nazis.
Yeah, and he's very, very radical Marxist, leftist. And the main incident that she was talking about was not on the Capitol steps. The media want you to think it was the incident on the Capitol steps. And what happened on the Capitol steps was not good. I mean, she was being swarmed and everything else. But this was an incident when she went to an event. I mean, I'm not sure exactly where this event was. Let me see here. And this is in the article you're talking about. Representative Jamal Bowman responded to accusations by Marjorie Taylor Greene that he's harassed, cursed at her, and led a mob against her, saying it's Greene who is endangering his life, comparing himself to Emmett Till and Michael Brown. Michael Brown, who attacked a police officer, by the way. Earlier today, Greene said at a Capitol Hill press conference, which I just played for you, that she felt threatened by Bowman after repeated incidents, including one on the Capitol steps Wednesday and last month in Manhattan. Okay, it's in Manhattan. So I went and pulled up the incident in Manhattan, and she's outside. There's a mob being led by Congressman Bowman. She's trying to get into a car. And you got to understand, he's a member of the United States House of Representatives, and he's leading a mob against another member of the House of Representatives, specifically targeting her. Let me play this.
Get her out of here. What inspired that today? Jamal Bowman. What inspired that today, Congressman? I was born and raised in New York City. This is the city that I love. It's a city focused on hard work and love for all people.
Now, Marjorie Taylor Greene looks frightened here. She's surrounded by people. She has some security, but not enough.
I was born and raised in New York City. This is the city that I love. It's a city focused on hard work and love for all people. We will never accept hateful rhetoric in our city. Any rhetoric that is divisive, any rhetoric that uplifts white supremacy, we are pushing back against that in all its forms. Marjorie Taylor Greene needs to take her back to Washington and do something about gun violence, do something about affordable housing, do something about childhood poverty, do something about climate change. Do your freaking job, Marjorie Taylor Greene. You don't need to be in New York City talking that nonsense. Go back to your district.
Okay.
I mean, if somebody was yelling at you like that, wouldn't you feel threatened?
No, it is threatening. He was leading a mob against her. And
he responded on Twitter saying that, once again, white people are villainizing and characterizing a black man as aggressive. Well, he is aggressive.
Here's the thing.
Nothing to do with him being black.
And I'll tell you this. And, you know, obviously, Kathy and I have an interracial family. Our daughter is black. We only have one child. All of our grandchildren, forever, all of our descendants will be people of color. Okay, they will not be white. They might be biracial. They might be something, but they will not be white. So we have a vested interest in race relations in this country. Okay, and
we discuss these things with Emily all the time.
You know, and it's important for us, and we've got a very vested interest in this. And this Jamal Bowman, and I don't use this word lightly, because
Oh my gosh.
It's a very important and powerful thing. He's just a racist.
Okay, well, here you go. Gavin Newsom just tweeted, in quotes, "His physical mannerisms are aggressive. I feel threatened by him." Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then Gavin Newsom said, "This is the kind of dangerous rhetoric that led to Emmett Till's death.
Also,
everyone should call this out for what it is, blatant racism." Well, so it's okay for her. See, this is what the liberals do. They never miss an opportunity, especially now, to paint white people as bigots. Meanwhile, he's screaming and yelling at her. So because he happens to be black, she's a bigot now. Why can't he just be a black guy just a regular guy that's with a big mouth that's yelling at somebody? Why is race an issue for these people?
The thing about Emmett Till,
by these people, I mean, liberals.
Emmett Till was murdered by a group of Democrats because it was what happened to Emmett Till is god awful, okay? And the way that he's being used by Bowman is disrespectful to Emmett Till.
Yeah.
Emmett Till,
I agree,
was lynched by a group of white men, Democrats. This story about the woman that he hit on a woman or he whistled at a woman or something, that's all a lie. They went and I know about Emmett Till, okay? I've studied Emmett Till. They killed him, and they needed a defense. So one of the lynchers, told the wife, "You say that he whistled at you, he was hitting on you,"
which I'm sure happened
because
a lot back
in the Democrat, a black man, and he was a teenager. A black man of any age would not whistle or hit on a white woman. This
is the storyline from To Kill a Mockingbird.
That's how that's an immediate death sentence. So they killed Emmett Till. Yeah. These white Democrat racists. They needed an excuse because it was getting attention. Right. So they got one of their wives to say that he was hitting on her, which back in those days in the 50s in the Democrat Jim Crow South would make it justifiable homicide in the minds of a lot of people. That's what happened to
Kill a Mockingbird. So, the wife accused a black guy.
That was just a cold-blooded murder. And anytime someone tells you Emmett Till was lynched because he whistled at a white woman, Emmett Till was lynched because he hit on a white woman, not only is that not true, it dishonors Emmett Till because it puts some responsibility on him that he would do something so stupid in the Deep South.
Well, her calling him 50s. Out on his aggressive behavior is not putting his life in danger. That's just ridiculous.
He should be thrown out of Congress.
It's not white supremacy because he just happens to be a different skin color. He was aggressive towards her, and if he talked to me that way, I would feel threatened too. I don't think any man should talk to a woman like that. Could you imagine if this was a MAGA congressman talking to AOC this way?
I wouldn't support
She would
it.
have him completely removed. Yeah. She would have her security beefed up, and she would play this up to the hilt. This is a tiny little woman. She's not calling for him to be lynched or run out of town.
He's targeting her,
or killed, or anything like that.
He's almost stalking her.
Exactly. His life's not in danger. Maybe his job's in danger. Big deal.
I don't know.
He shouldn't act that way as a professional politician. And she has every right to feel afraid. If he talked to me if any guy talked to me that way, I'd feel afraid.
Well, Kevin McCarthy needs to strip this guy of whatever committees he's on. And completely isolate him and seriously consider some type of procedure to remove him from Congress because he has on 2 occasions has led a mob against another member of Congress, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And
he's the one leading the lynch mobs.
That is dangerous, and it cannot be allowed. And I'll tell you another thing about Bowman. Not only is he racist, I also don't say these things lightly. People throw words around and everything. The 2 things I don't throw around lightly are racist. That's one, and he's definitely a racist. And the other thing is he's mentally ill. I watched him in both of these incidents, and there was another one with another congressman a few weeks ago, but I saw him on the Capitol steps with Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I watched the video of him in New York leading the mob against her. He's not right in the head. Yeah. You can see it in his
Obviously.
eyes. He's also not. You're not safe around him.
No, he's a very angry person with a huge chip on his shoulder.
He's easily triggered, and what he does is he encourages others to join in.
And then when somebody calls him out, he's a victim.
Yeah. So no, Bowman.
That's what the liberals do. That's their gameplay. They get aggressive. They get nasty. And then the minute you challenge them or call them out on their behavior, you're the bad guy. It's a twisted mind game.
What's happened is with the it started with AOC and the lunatics in the squad. The most radical Democrat activists have made their way into the Congress of the United States.
Yes.
And there's a benefit to it in that it really puts a face on how sick the Democrat Party is. But it takes the country in a very dangerous direction because these people are so divisive. You know, in the United States, obviously we have a two-party system. I know there's other parties, but a two-party system. But we should agree on certain fundamental things.
That doesn't happen anymore.
And the Democrats have gotten so far to the left.
Yeah.
They don't agree with free expression, freedom of religion, freedom of political association. It's what they want or you're done.
Well, this is why they label MAGA as dangerous, so we don't have a place at the table. And we don't deserve that place because we're dangerous. So our opinion, this is their way of shutting us up or trying to.
Now, listen, we're a month away from Father's Day. Go to mypillow.com. Use our promo code Kane and check out Kane and buy Dad something for his day, okay? You can use our promo code Kane for anything at mypillow.com. The MyPillow 2.0 with cooling technology is great. The MyPillow bathrobes are less than $60 with our promo code Kane and check out Kane. So go to mypillow.com and buy Dad something. There's great deals there. There's over 200 items at mypillow.com, and you can use our promo code Kane, Kane, for all of those specials. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for beautiful and affordable jewelry? Look no further than Bids.com, the premier online auction site for all your jewelry needs. Bids.com offers a wide selection of high-quality jewelry, from elegant diamond necklaces to stunning engagement rings. With the auctions at Bids.com, you can bid on your favorite pieces and get them at prices you won't find anywhere else. Plus, with Bids.com's easy-to-use platform, it's simple to find exactly what you're looking for and place your bids. Bids.com also have watches, handbags, items to use around your home, and make sure to check out their new arrivals. So why wait? Start bidding on beautiful jewelry today and see how much you can save. Visit Bids.com and join the millions of satisfied customers who have already discovered the thrill of the auction. Bids.com, where beautiful jewelry is just a bid away. Are you tired of living in fear? Are you ready to break free and conquer the obstacles holding you back? Then add Resist and Conquer, Unlocking the Secrets of How to Resist and Conquer Fear, from author Demisha Lewis, available on Amazon to your must-read list. Resist and Conquer holds the key to unlocking a life of freedom and victory. The author takes you on a transformative journey, guiding you through the power of God's Word to overcome fear. With practical guidelines and insightful tools, you'll transition from being a victim of fear to becoming a victorious conqueror. Experience firsthand accounts of the author's own triumph over fear as she shares her personal stories of overcoming obstacles. Through her words, you'll gain invaluable insight on how to unlock the secrets to resist and conquer your own fears. Don't let fear hold you back any longer. Take control of your life. Resist and Conquer will empower you to live life to its fullest. Author Demisha Lewis invites you to join her on this incredible journey of transformation. Order your copy of Resist and Conquer, Unlocking the Secrets of How to Resist and Conquer Fear on Amazon, and break free from fear and unlock your true potential. Order your copy now and start conquering your fears today. Robert Allen Miltenberg invites you to time travel with him to the Roman future. His new novella, available at Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. It's the golden age of Rome, a time of peace and prosperity. And Scadius Commodius Lavatorius is its greatest scientist. But for all he's achieved, one question haunts him. Will Rome survive the test of time? There's only one way to find out. Come along on this cosmic romp of an adventure. See if you can read the signs any better than a brilliant scientist can. Prediction, science fiction, allegory, national glory. This is a satire at its most gladiatorial. Center stage in the Circus Maximus of your mind. A story of time machines and timeless politics, strange Roman cuisine and gambling parlor tricks, spinning gold and crossing the river Styx. That's the Roman future. Available on Kindle and paperback. Go to Amazon or Barnes & Noble now and visit The Roman Future by Robert Allen Miltenberg today.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at BrianCraigShow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. You may hear some thunder in the background. I just heard some thunder during the commercial. We're getting into hurricane season in Florida, rainy season. So, it rains every afternoon. Daniel Penny, this is a case that's going to be going on for a long time. And I imagine in New York, they're going to drag this out as long as they can because I think they'd like this Daniel Penny trial to be going on during the elections because it's such a divisive thing. So I don't think it's going to get wrapped up soon.
Maybe, yeah.
But, there's witnesses on that train. And a witness said this. Daniel Penny is a hero. We were scared for our lives. Woman who was on the train when the Marine veteran put Jordan Neely in a chokehold says he was distraught after accidentally killing him as she calls for charges to be dropped. That's the headline. A woman, this is in the Daily Mail, a woman witnessed Marine veteran Daniel Penny putting Jordan Neely, and I just want to say this about Jordan Neely. Jordan Neely had a very terrible, tragic life. His mother was murdered when he was a teenager. He was raised after that in the foster care system, and he suffered from severe mental illness, okay? And I know he had a history of violent crimes too, but he was severely mentally ill. He had a terrible life. It doesn't excuse anything that, assaulting people, but he had untreated mental illness. And I see all these family members out there talking about Jordan Neely. Where were they when he wasn't taking his medications? The reason he's in the trouble... Well, the reason he was in the trouble that he was in for all of his life is because he was not being treated for his mental illness. A lot of people that are mentally ill don't take their medications, and his family.
That's for sure. That's one of the biggest problems with mental illness.
Yeah,
is compliance with your medications.
Yeah. And anytime I see a family member of his on TV talking about him, I mean, where were they throughout his life when he needed someone to make sure he took his meds?
They're going to get a big payout now because that seems to
there's
be
no payout because the
they're
city
going to sue the city.
The city didn't kill him.
No, but they'll find a way to trust me. They'll lawyer. Well, I saw their lawyer. He's like the guy who played Johnny Cochran on Seinfeld.
Okay,
they'll find a way to get money out of this because that's what these families do now.
Or maybe that crowdfunding. It's over $2.5 million.
But I will say this with the Marine, he has a very good lawyer. He's got that big legal defense fund for $2.5 million, and his lawyer was on the news, and he's very good and very sharp dresser. And I saw a clip of it online, and he made a good point, which I didn't think about. He said, when you're on a subway, you're isolated and trapped.
You're in a tube. It's like being on an airplane.
Yeah, he said you can't call for help. Mm-mm. You can't call for the police to come. And That's true. I didn't think about that. And he said this guy was a threat to everybody on that car, the subway car. And the Marine, forgot his name, Danny. He said Danny felt that he had to step in and take charge of this. Think if this happened on an airplane and you had no air marshal and you had somebody belligerently going up and down and the flight attendants could not control them and they were a danger to the flight and all this stuff. You would want somebody there to subdue
it. Happened.
And things like that.
Well, let me read through this story.
So I think, the problem is I don't know if you can get a fair trial in New York City.
One of the women this is in the Daily Mail. One of the women on the train was an unidentified 66-year-old, and she should keep herself anonymous as long as possible because they'll target her. One of the women on the train was an unidentified 66-year-old who previously spoke out in defense of Penny. Now another is telling her story of how Penny protected them. So we got two women, okay? And she says this, it was self-defense, and I believe in my heart that he saved a lot of people that day that could have gotten hurt. The woman also in her 60s, and remember, Jordan Neely, he committed violence against two people. One was a 7-year-old child that he dragged, and the other one is he physically assaulted an elderly woman in her mid-60s and fractured bones in her face. It was self-defense, and I believe in my heart that he saved a lot of people that day that could have gotten hurt. The woman, also in her 60s, said she was reading her book in peace on the train when she heard Neely begin to yell. He says, I don't care if I have to kill an F. I will.
Oh, that's a direct threat.
I'll go to jail. I'll take a bullet. I'm looking at where we are on the tube and the sardine can, and I'm like, okay, we're in between stations. There's nowhere we can go.
Right,
the people on that train, we were scared. We were scared for our lives. Right. Penny, she says, waited until the last minute to take Neely down. By the time the train arrived at the Broadway Lafayette station, Neely was being held down by Penny and 2 others. Penny continued to hold on to him, even as bystanders warned that he risked killing him, they say.
Yeah. That's going to not help him.
The witness said,
hold on to him very long.
Yeah. The witness said Penny was distraught upon realizing Neely had died. And it goes on. But he was definitely a threat. We have multiple people on the train who felt that their lives were in danger. And this is the thing, okay? The city of New York has abandoned people. They don't have...
That's true.
When Trump came for that grand jury BS last month, they had every cop in uniform, every detective, everybody. They had thousands of cops on the street. But they're not doing that on a regular day. And they're not filling the subways and the subway stations up with police because
the city might be pissed about that, the residents there.
So what unfortunately, people have to take responsibility for their own safety sometimes.
Yeah, it's like Gotham City here.
When they're in dangerous situations. And I feel very bad for Jordan Neely because of he had a terrible life and he was severely mentally ill. But people like that can be very dangerous. You know,
sure.
Here in Florida, we get a lot of homeless people during the winter. They're like the birds. They come from up north to the south with the birds because it's so cold up north and it's nice in Florida in the winter. And the homeless people, most every one of them is mentally ill. And when people are mentally ill, in particular men, they're scary and they're dangerous. And you don't mess with them. And these are people that aren't only mentally ill and not in control of themselves and can't consider consequences. Mm-hmm. These are also people that got nothing to lose. You know what I mean? And they don't mind going to jail because they have a home and a meal, 3 times a day. So
this guy was like in a desperate situation.
And it's like we were talking at the beginning of the segment here. When you're on a tube, whether it's an airplane or a subway train, and there's someone dangerous and you are trapped, and these are small
it's not like
areas.
A bus where they can pull over.
What do you
you're stuck.
What are you supposed to do? Just allow these? Think about it. If you're a guy there, what are you supposed to do? Let elderly women be attacked?
Especially if you're a Marine and you are trained to protect people, to protect the country. I think he's going to run into some problems with the fact that he, did the chokehold and ended up in this guy dying instead of just subduing him. And I'm being honest, that's going to be a problem for this guy because you can subdue somebody. And there were 2 other guys helping him without killing him. I mean, you can. But if he can successfully convince the jury that was not his intent and that he did not realize what he was doing, maybe you're right. Maybe there's enough New Yorkers pissed at the mayor and pissed at the lack of police presence that they'll side with this guy. I don't
know.
I think we're looking at a hung jury with this. I think people are going to be very divided on this topic in New York, but wait for the liberals to come around and protest and make it very hard for this guy to get a fair trial. Because they're going to be outside putting a lot of pressure on this jury to convict him of something.
Now, there's a new call on, they keep telling us that we lost the midterm elections, right? Because they want to brand Trump a loser, these never-Trumpers in the uniparty Republican establishment. But we won the House of Representatives, and we have the majority. Doesn't matter how big the majority is, we have the majority. And that's why this Jim Jordan committee today is so spectacular. That's how Marjorie Taylor Greene's able to introduce these articles of impeachment she talked about today. Now, House Republicans are calling for a new investigation into the Clintons because some new information has come out. Republicans are demanding a new probe into Bill and Hillary after a new report reveals that FBI top brass shut down 4 criminal investigations into millions of dollars in foreign donations and speaker fees. Now, I'm not going to read through the article, but this is something that I know a lot about. I know some of you do too.
Yeah.
The Clinton Foundation is a money laundering operation that the Clintons set up to launder bribes. And when Bill Clinton first left the White House, Hillary was a senator. And then she, there was a little time when she was nothing. Then she was Secretary of State, okay? And Bill Clinton, when he was an ex-president, started giving speeches, and he was talking for 50 minutes, an hour, and he was getting paid $200,000, $250,000.
It's kind of like Hunter Biden with his crappy art.
Yeah, and people were, at the time, this was a big thing that people were talking about. What is he saying that's worth $250,000? What is he possibly could be saying? And then it starts to come to light with that Uranium One. Hillary Clinton worked with many other people that are in government, by the way, but she signed off on it because she was Secretary of State with Uranium One. It all came to light with Uranium One. That's when Hillary Clinton signed off, and she sold 20% of America's uranium deposits to the Russians. And the Russians have thousands of nuclear warheads aimed at American cities. They're armed with uranium from American uranium mines that Hillary Clinton gave them. They did it through a third party in Canada and all this BS. But all of these speaking fees that the Clintons got over the years were bribes, and they laundered them through the Clinton Foundation. Mm-hmm. And the FBI knew about these 4 major incidents and covered up and didn't have investigations. This is huge stuff. And I get so angry at people when they say, well, if the Clintons don't go to jail, Bill and Hillary Clinton are not going to go to prison. Joe Biden's not going to go to prison.
No, none of these people
are.
And
anyone who obsesses over that is one of two things. They're either fake MAGA that are trying to cause trouble, or they're just stupid, okay? Not only are they not going to jail, in a way, it's a good thing that they're not going to jail, because if Bill and Hillary go to jail, the Democrats will find a way to put Melania in jail one day, okay? I know she's done nothing wrong, but obviously these people don't care. Look what they've been doing to Trump. You understand what I'm saying? We don't want to start jailing presidents and first ladies. No. That'll turn into a very dangerous thing in this country where we don't want to go. But let me finish, Kathy, on this.
People, when they do Clintons, that, they set up a precedent that's never going to have a standard that's never going to happen.
But let me tell you the justice that's going to happen with this. And you got to be patient. And again, anyone who be very suspicious of any MAGA person who says, well, if they don't get arrested, nothing's going to happen. Move on here. Be very suspicious of those people. President Trump, in his platform for his second term. Now, you got to understand, when President Trump, I talked to Dick Morris about this, okay? And Dick Morris is Donald Trump's senior advisor on the campaign. And Dick Morris agreed with me on this. I said to Dick Morris, I said, when President Trump comes into his second term, being a non-consecutive term, he's going to have a complete mandate to accomplish and do his entire platform. He said, absolutely, right?
Yeah.
One of the things on President Trump's platform is firing and dissolving the entire deep state, which includes the Washington FBI that's been politicized.
That'd be top on the list.
So all of these things that are going on, this Clinton probe that I'm talking about now, the Durham report, because people, now I went to jail. Just hold your horses, stupid. Okay, I'm sorry to be insulting, but you're being. If you're so short-sighted, you're just stupid. Okay, or you're a fake MAGA. The Durham report, this Clinton probe, this Jim Jordan committee, the Weaponization of Government Committee, what they're doing, all these things are setting the stage and gathering evidence so that when President Trump is in his second term, we'll use those things and saying, we're firing everybody at the Washington office of the FBI because of what the Durham report showed, what this Clinton probe showed, what Jim Jordan's weapon. Don't you understand, guys? So just cool your horses, be patient, and don't let these fake MAGA people start to think that nothing's happening here. President Trump is running this Republican Congress. We talk about this a lot through Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay? And all of these things are happening to set the stage for him to get down to business in his second term. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So believe me, a lot is going to become of this. I mean, that's what I think. And you know what? President Trump agrees with me. That's why he's running for a second term and telling us he's going to do this. Okay. So you just got to be cool and everything's going to turn out all right. Now, listen, we're going to take our last break. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more to talk about. There's so much major news going on. My name is Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll take our last break and come back right after this.
Get the competitive edge with Client Hub X, their online business growth strategy consultation session. Looking to grow your online business? Look no further than their online business growth strategy session. Their team of experts has worked with some of the biggest brands in the world and will be involved in formulating a customized strategy tailored to your unique needs. From avoiding common mistakes and pitfalls to learning from the best, their team is here to guide you every step of the way. Their easy to implement strategies are designed to help you achieve your online business goals quickly and efficiently. Whether you're a startup or an established business, their service is perfect for anyone looking to take their online growth to the next level. Visit macfordigital.co. That's macfordigital.co. ChatGPT. Everyone's talking about it, but did you know that you can make money using ChatGPT? Get ready to make money easily and quickly using ChatGPT. With your copy of the must-read book, The ChatGPT Millionaire, making money online has never been this easy. Updated for GPT-4 from author Neil Dagger. This is the ultimate guide to creating passive income, writing engaging content, and finishing client projects in just minutes. With over 150 act-as prompts, you can use ChatGPT for whatever you need. Social media content, blog post, video scripts, software apps. The uses are endless. Order your copy right now on Amazon and get a free ChatGPT prompt cheat sheet and no-nonsense guide on how to build wealth. Start your journey to financial freedom and order your copy of The ChatGPT Millionaire from author Neil Dagger on Amazon. Do you have a hobby you love that you would like to turn into a lucrative business? You have the skills and the desire, but you're not sure how to make this dream a reality? The book, Artist to Entrepreneur, from author Patrick Gamaliel, is written to help artists of all types make the shift from having a hobby to having a full-fledged business. Artist to Entrepreneur is perfect for anyone who has ever considered monetizing their creative talent. It can help you fast-track your way to building a six-figure business. Dive into the mindset shift that needs to happen for an artist just like you to move from a hobbyist to a successful business owner. If you're an artist looking to turn your passion into a profitable business, then you need this book. What are you waiting for? Take that first step to freedom and financial security from your art and order your copy of Artist to Entrepreneur from author Patrick Gamaliel, available on Amazon.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. By the way, the Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms. If there's a podcast platform, we are on it. Just search for the Brian Craig Show podcast. We have so many shows up there because we've been doing this show for many, many years, Kathy and I. And I also upload the show on my YouTube channel, Brian Craig Show on YouTube. So make sure you guys check us out on all your podcast platforms and listen to us in the car when you're driving around. A couple things here. You know, Ron DeSantis, I saw Dick Morris on Newsmax today. And Ron DeSantis is signing all kinds of great things. I mean, he's doing a lot of very conservative things in Florida that are awesome. And I'm very happy about it. Dick Morris said, though, he's trying to out-conservative Trump. And
maybe so he has things he can talk about when he's running.
It's so interesting what...
He's got a record he can talk about.
Yeah, it's so interesting that Dick Morris said that, because what I was saying yesterday, I said on the morning show, and I'm sure I talked about this on the podcast yesterday, because I got a call from Juan in Coral Springs. He's a longtime listener. He's been calling me for years, and he's a big DeSantis guy. And he was talking about all these conservative things. And I told him, I'm sure I said this on yesterday's show podcast. I said to Juan from Coral Springs, I said what he's doing is the conservative equivalent of virtue signaling. He's just doing it from a conservative viewpoint to try to firm up his conservative credentials to people after he betrayed President Trump and lied to us here in Florida. And he's going to announce next week. All the sources are saying he's going to announce next week. Now, anything can change. He still has not signed the law, changing Florida law, allowing him to run for president and remain governor.
I already did.
No, they passed the law in Tallahassee. Okay. Unless he signed it and they've kept it under wraps, which is possible. Some of the some of the things he signed, like he signed a bill starting in July in Florida, concealed weapon carrying is allowed without a permit. Now we have concealed permit carry in Florida, but starting in July, you don't need a permit. If you can legally possess a gun, you can carry a gun concealed. And I will probably start carrying them on occasion, especially when I'm riding the MAGA Scooter 2.0 around. And I got a 38 that fits perfect anywhere you need it to go. It's a small 38 with an internal hammer, because the exterior hammer on those guns can get caught on your clothes and stuff. And the one with the internal hammer is pretty cool. That's why I got it. I like it a lot. But anyway, he signed that like late at night. And there was no publicity, no big ceremony. So it's possible he signed this law and they've kept it under wraps. But I've seen nothing to indicate that he has signed it. So I think he's having cold feet because of the polls. But the latest polls in Florida, did you hear that? The thunder? The latest polls in Florida among Republican voters, Trump versus DeSantis, Trump is 28 points ahead of DeSantis. He's our sitting governor in Florida. He's the sitting governor of Florida, and he was just reelected, and he's 28 points behind Trump. He's not electable in Florida. How can he win nationally?
Yeah,
but he's doing.
Well, they're convinced that once he jumps in, everything's going to change.
But he's done
I heard somebody say that
a lot. They're all saying that's a talk. Yeah. It's a DeSantis talking point. They're all saying that. You hear that thunder? It's kind of, I just saw some lightning. We might have to cut this segment short because there's so much lightning going on.
We got to go let the cat in.
Yeah, I don't want to.
She's freaking out.
I don't want to get struck by lightning through the microphone.
Yeah,
but a lot of these conservative things he's doing is absolutely amazing, and I'm glad that he's doing them. But I still don't like him or trust him. And one of the things, though, that just came out today, and this is a beautiful thing, and this is a very good thing that this happened. I was very worried about this. Disney was going to move their corporate headquarters from California to Florida. In fact, they bought a huge parcel of land off of their normal Disney World property to build this massive office complex where 200 of their executives from California were going to relocate to. And Disney announced that they're not going to do that now. And I'm very happy about that because that would have been like the CEO of Disney, all those top liberal wokesters would have been based in Florida. And over the course of the next few years, when you have those, they all make millions of dollars a year. When you have the top Disney executives living and working in Florida, they'll work their way into having control over the state legislature. So because of DeSantis, they're not moving here, and that's a good thing. But don't be fooled because he's signing all these uber conservative things. They're all good things he's doing. Okay?
Oh my God.
Wow, that was close. I saw a spark.
We need to end the show.
Oh, I got
You got it. The cat's on the back porch. We got to get her.
I will.
I'm sure that terrified her.
I'll pause and we'll be right.
Go get her. Yes.
There will not be a commercial break. I'll just pause and go get the cat because I saw a spark outside the window. Did you see that?
Yeah.
The lightning struck like I think it hit our neighbor's car. All right, I got the cat in and she's meowing. She's telling us about it. But
she bolted in.
I think our neighbor's truck got struck by lightning because I saw a spark out of the corner of my eye with that lightning strike.
I think so.
So anyway, just to finish up, don't be fooled by DeSantis signing all these conservative things, okay? Now, did you see the story about Candace Owens and the plane?
No.
Oh, my goodness. Now, our daughter flies back and forth from California a lot, and it's very inexpensive. She flies JetBlue, and round trip from Los Angeles to Fort Lauderdale is like $250. That's pretty cheap, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's pretty cheap. And if it's expensive, she just waits until the fares go down. Well, Candace Owens doesn't fly like our daughter does.
Of course.
She is attacking British Airways. Candace, and let me read through this story. Conservative commentator Candace Owens has and I remember when Candace Owens was just some girl on Periscope. Remember Periscope? And she's like,
come a long way.
She was just, I want you just to factor that in. She was just a girl on Periscope at her house, and I don't know what she was doing, but she was like not famous or anything. Conservative commentator Candace Owens has accused British Airways of financial fraud after the business class seat she paid for failed to recline. In a tweet, Candace Owens said she booked 3 business class seats on a 10-hour overnight flight with her 2 children. aged 10 months and 2 years old. But after boarding, discovered the seat had no power and could not recline. She goes into the complaining. She paid $18,000 for the tickets.
Wow.
For 3 tickets. Okay. She paid
sounds like first class.
She paid $18,000 for business class tickets for herself and her 2 children. And listen, I'm not against rich people. I have nothing against rich people.
Why is this even a story? Why has she made this a thing?
God bless them. But when you're complaining about your international airline seats, I think you're getting a little snooty there.
She's getting out of touch.
Yeah,
that's what's happened. She's getting out of touch with regular people.
She's
now.
becoming.
These are her problems.
You know what she's becoming like a little bit? Meghan Markle. She's got a little Meghan Markle in her.
Yeah.
You understand what I mean? She's getting a little.
She's just. This is her new problem. Rich girl problems.
Exactly.
She's like Paris Hilton.
Exactly. I mean, my goodness, $18,000 for 3 seats on an airplane.
One of them's like for a 10-month-old. Why does a 10-month-old need a $6,000 seat?
I don't know.
That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I know. That tells you how much money
she could have chartered a private jet for that amount of money.
That's when you got that FU money.
Yeah. Well,
now listen, the thunder is getting. We had a lightning strike next door, and the thunder's actually getting closer. So I'm going to thank our Patreon supporters, and then we're going to conclude the show because that one was really close, and I want to disconnect the computers and everything. But before we go, I want to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. I had a lot more to talk about, but because of the lightning thunder, we're gonna wind things down. But thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. And if you would like to become a patron, there's a link in the episode description, as well as a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com. And the direct website to our Patreon page is patreon.com/realbriancraigshow. And all Patreon supporters get commercial-free editions of each and every podcast episode. And our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you on each and every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW. ETW was in the chat last night during the live premiere. He had not been in there in a while. Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P, Carlos, Paulette, John, ActicFox, David, Richard, and Melissa. These are our top Patreon supporters. Thank you all, and we'll talk to you guys next time.